All right, so I remember talking about in a recent video about how there's no weekly MSTR covered call or some form of income ETFs, and that is no longer true. Roundhill was the one that I expected it to come out with, is the first one that came out with it, and that is MSTW. And this one is, like I said, it's a weekly payer, which is Roundhill is the most famous fund manager for these weekly covered call funds. Now, this one's a little bit different in that basically what it says right here, actively managed fund, no guarantee the fund will successfully provide returns that correspond to approximately 120%. So this one uses a little bit of leverage, and some people might like that, some people might not like that. Personally, I say what the hell. Like you're already doing it with one of the most volatile stocks in the market. You might, at the end of the day, honestly, I don't care. I'm sure there'll be other funds that are going to come out and copy this one. Now, the first thing people probably are going to ask is how much does the dividend pay? And it has paid 2 dividends so far. Actually, one will actually be paying today. But if we take an average of those dividends, assume that it's the exact same for the rest of the year, it's going to be around 90%. Now, again, the price of the shares moves around quite a bit. So, I mean, if it goes up 5%, it's going to be down 5 to 10%. If it goes down, it's going to be higher. So this will move around a lot day to day. But based on the share price today, averaging out the 2 dividend payments over the whole year, it's around 90%, which is absolutely insane. And not to mention too, you do get the price returns of MSTR with a little bit of leverage. So there's the first question is people probably wondering, oh, have you bought it yet? And the answer to that is yes. I've actually bought about 26 shares. So I've gone, moderately crazy on it so far. But I mean, I like what it's doing. And frankly, this is exactly what I want. Now, the one thing that I want to keep an eye on, and I will be very careful with, is a lot of their other funds have had negative share price returns over time, even though the price of the underlying has gone up, right? Now, specifically the QDTE, XDTE, and RDTE. Now, these ones are 0 days to expiration ETFs, so they are a different strategy. But that's one thing I want to keep a close eye on. Also, YBTC, this is one I really like, probably a top 5 holding, at least amongst my dividend portfolio. I very much like this one. YBTC doesn't pay nearly as high of a dividend. The share price is about the same, but I mean, this one's paying, where would it be here? It's got to be somewhere there it is. So this one's paying anywhere from 34 to 52 cents per week. MSTW is paid, they're paying 78 cents today, the day of me releasing this video. The last week was 85 cents. So, I mean, it's almost double, right? It's almost double. Now, YBTC has had roughly flat share price returns. So you haven't lost any share price returns, and you're getting that almost 37% dividend, which frankly is still very good. So I'm treading carefully on this one. I want to wait a few months before I go crazy on MSTW. The one thing I want to see is how does the share price react? I'm really hoping to see a week or two or a month where MSTR is up like 20-30% and see how much is this up. Because if it's also up 20-30%, that's going to be crazy. Because if you can get share price returns that are even close to MSTR and that crazy dividend, like that'll be, I'm going to make it my largest holding, like full stop. But I want to see what happens with the share price. I want to see also on the flip side, a week where, or 2 weeks, whatever, where MSTR is down 10 or 20%. Is it down 30%? Because if that's the case, then that's going to make me a little bit concerned. It's very hard to say this early. The one thing I'll say is it's already comparable to my position in YBTC, which I think is safer. BTCI I think is the safest of all the funds that I really like. between BTCI, YBTC, and MSTW, they're about the same position. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. This one, MSTW, definitely has the most upside, but it also has the most downside. YBTC is kind of in the middle, moderate upside, moderate downside, at least compared to these kind of funds. And then BTCI is the lowest, right? I mean, it's going to get the best share price returns, but it pays the lowest dividends. So you kind of got to pick your poison. My strategy is pretty simple. I prefer a combination thereof. Although I am taking quite a bit of risk with these investments. Obviously, I think that should go without saying. I want to diversify a little bit because at the end of the day, the dividend on BTCI is still like 25 to 30%, which is still absolutely phenomenal. So that's basically my thoughts there. The one thing people might notice here is, it's only $57 million in assets under management. I discovered this fund, it would have been almost 2 weeks ago. I noticed it, I think it was, 12 or 13 days ago to be exact. I think it was like $15 million back then. So it's already up like 4x in a matter of 2 weeks roughly. So, I mean, it already has more assets under management than the NVIDIA weekly pay ETF. It has more than the Tesla one. So I think that this is probably going to become a top 5, for sure top 10 fund for them. I mean, if you look at, the fifth biggest one is 300 million. I think it'll get there. I mean, especially considering YBTC is already pretty close to that. So I really hope that this fund gains traction, because that will mean that other companies will come out with their versions of a MSTR weekly payer. And the more competition, the better. This is something that I really like. I hope there's 3, 4, 5 companies that come out with these, because I want to buy whatever the best one is. I want to see who can perform the best, right? Competition always brings out the best of us. So even though it's a small fund right now, I think it's growing a lot. And another thing to bring up too is that I looked up the volume on it, and the volume is actually about the same, actually slightly higher, at least yesterday, than YBTC. So it's already trading with more volume than a fund with 275 million in assets under management. Now, again, that's not big by ETF standards by any means. I would say you need to get at least a couple billion, 2-3 billion before you can be considered a decent size ETF. But again, I think we're still early here. I'm monitoring it closely, but I do have a very good feeling about this, because I do think that we over the next year or so, I think we'll see another very, very big, like a parabolic move up in Bitcoin, which will correspond to a very large uptick in MSTR, which these kind of funds will do very good as well. It's just a matter of how much. But again, I am treading carefully, because the fund's only like 3 weeks old at this point. So that's basically what I wanted to bring up today. I didn't mention at the start of the video, but if you got value, please like, subscribe, comment, check out those links below, and stay tuned for more.